I have found that there are at least 3 pillars of a successful returnee that one has to stand on. The 3 attributes and characteristics that one has to have in order to make that decision. So for starters, you have to be an unwavering self-believer. You have got to believe in yourself. Because without that self-belief, you can't even begin to have the conversation of going back home. It's a non-negotiable starting point when it comes to one making that decision to return home. The second pillar is that you have to be a daring risk taker. You have to be daring. You have to be able to look at your life and see all the daring things that you've done so that you can muster that courage within you to be like, you know what, man, if I've done all this before, I can just go back home. I can go back home because I feel like it. Because some people may want to go back home, but they simply are not risk takers. They're not daring enough to stand the unpredictability of the Zimbabwean economy. Some don't want to have to adapt to it. So things are so unpredictable. You're not sure what's going to happen next. You don't know what policy they're going to come up with. It's very unstable. So it takes one who can deal with that instability by way of their daring nature to see beyond that fear within that might tell them that it may not be a good idea. So that's the second pillar. The third pillar, one has to be unbreakable. You have to have an unbreakable and unshakable spirit, because Zimbabwe really is a school of hard knocks. It's a country that will teach you. It will teach you things that you never felt you had to learn. Now, because this connects to who you are spiritually, Zimbabwe has a way of chastising the people. It has a way of dealing with the people in such a way that you are forced to bring out the best in yourself in order to overcome the challenges that Zimbabwe can place in front of you. So those are the 3 most important pillars. And we want to talk about those today. We're going to talk about the kinds of people, the kind of person that you need to be, the attributes that you need to possess in order to make that decision to eventually come back home. We're talking about you making that decision to say, hey, you know what? I'm going back home. Right. So we said first, you have to have that belief in yourself. Your confidence is that currency that you need. A lot of people talk about, I need money to have when I get back home. I need 200,000. I need 50,000. I need 60,000. It's very difficult to raise those types of money because when you're living in another country, whether it's America, the UK, you have expenses, rentals to pay for, you've got mortgages to pay for, you have to eat, you've got all these expenses because the society is structured in such a way that at the end of the month, you've got so many bills that need to get paid, whether it's your phone bill, whether it's the council tax, and anything else that you may have subscribed to within the UK or within America or Australia or Canada or South Africa. There's all of these things happening in those economies and those societies that demand you to take responsibility for. It's very difficult to save all of these unrealistic amounts that we hear people talking about. I came back with 75,000. I came back with 100,000, 200,000, or 500,000. People have all these figures in their head, and you wonder, what are you doing to be saving or having all that money? And say, it's my savings. I'm not saying people don't have those amounts of money, but that's the minority who have that money. Most people, the money that they earn is going to be enough for what they need to deal with on a monthly basis. A lot of people have to send money back home. So it's even harder for them to have all these unrealistic savings unless they're into some type of criminal activity. But I'm not saying those who do come back with that money are into that, but I'm just saying those may sometimes be the factors that enable certain people to be able to come comfortably just come back home like it's nothing. But actually it's a huge deal. So your self-confidence is your currency. It's not about the money that you have in your account. It's the confidence that you have in your own capabilities. It's that deep knowing within yourself that you possess the internal compass to navigate any terrain, including Zimbabwe. You know yourself enough to be able to say, you know what, I could go back anywhere. I could go into any country and I'll be okay. And that includes Zimbabwe. So you believe in your own ingenuity. You have that genuine belief in yourself and your abilities. That belief in yourself, that's a portable asset that you can move with and thrive regardless of the external climate. So this is crucial because without this inner fortress, the initial thought of returning home will often just crumble under the weight of fears and perceived obstacles, where you have that little voice in your head saying, look, it's not going to work. So the more powerful voice should be the voice in your head that's telling you that you are enough, that your abilities are enough, and that you will find a way regardless of the circumstances that you may face once you get home. So this self-belief is the invisible shield against any doubt. It's the unseen currency that validates your decision to step back into the Zimbabwean soil. So this is the premise upon which all other actions are going to be built. That belief in yourself. You gotta have it. And this is the second pillar that we spoke about, that you have to be a risk taker. You have to be daring, prepared to embrace the unforeseen reality. Because returning to Zimbabwe, particularly now we're talking especially from overseas, it's not just a geographical shift. Now that's a leap of faith into the beautifully unpredictable. Because sometimes maybe when you're in South Africa, it's closer, you kind of have a sense of what's going on in Zimbabwe because maybe you see more people from back home. You're still pretty much at home in a way, but when you are coming from overseas now, you're more disconnected over time. It really becomes very unpredictable. The return is very unpredictable. Zimbabwe has a unique way of rewriting your plans. You're going to get here, you're going to realize, okay, all my spreadsheets, all these blueprints, it's not applying here no more because everything changes so quickly. It's the land where the unforeseen is the norm, where meticulous strategies can be swept aside by new realities. Because it's ever shifting. It's almost perennially fluid, the situation over here. So this is where the daring heart comes into play. It's the courage to launch forward, knowing that your perfectly crafted plans might in a flash dissolve into thin air. But it's also about having the audacity to adapt, to face the raw reality any given time with bare knuckles. You have to be prepared to face whatever shows up. So this is not about being a reckless type of person where you're out there in the middle of London and you're thinking, man, I'm just going to do this. It's not about being reckless, but it has to be a calculated audacity born from a deep understanding that true growth emerges from chaos and the willingness to pivot when the ground shifts beneath your feet. You're prepared to face situations. So it's a spiritual thing, really. You understand that, look, being daring, it's not that you're not a cautious person. It's just knowing that any change or any emergence of something new within yourself can only take place after going through periods of uncertainty. It's a deep thing. It's not that simple where you're just a reckless a young man or young woman. No, you're very thoughtful. But you also understand that there's certain things that you cannot foresee. And then, of course, there's the third pillar, that's having an unbreakable spirit. Zimbabwe can feel like a crucible. It can feel like a school of hard knocks where lessons are often delivered with unexpected intensity. You just have to be that kind of person that no matter what you face, you know at the end of the day, you're going to get past it. There are people like that who know that, yeah, things are going to hurt. It may be difficult. Who knows what's going to happen out there or how things are going to turn out. But you just know that no matter what happens, you will come out of there stronger. That's inner strength. This is where your inner fortitude is tested, where every fiber of your being learns to withstand pressure, disappointment, and the inevitable roadblocks. You also have to have vision. You have to have the vision to reform Zimbabwe, to reform this so-called school of hard knocks. You have to have that vision to be the change that this place needs. So you're not just coming out here hoping that you're going to find everybody has fixed the problems that you were hoping to get away from when you left this country. But you are coming back with the understanding that those problems are waiting for you, looking at you like this. They're staring at you like, yeah, you left and yeah, we're still here. And you have to deal with that. So now that means you have to come with a vision. You are now ready to transcend yourself, the person that you were before. When you left this country, you have to go beyond that person that you were, so that now the person that you are is the one that's going to deal with the situations that we face in this country. So you have to rise above all these notions that you've had of who you are, the kind of person that you are. You have to rise above that because something new has to come out of you, something beyond who you thought you were. So now this is where things even get deeper, because you've learned over time, over your experiences overseas, or whether, in the UK, even in South Africa, all of those experiences that you've gone through, for the most part, have taught you that there's something spiritual about your experience and that there's something greater than you. A lot of people who've been out there and have seen the world get into this understanding. They get into it for real because now they've experienced reality. And a lot of people understand that they are nothing without our Heavenly Father. Because whatever we think we can withstand, we cannot withstand without that belief in something other than our own abilities. Because you're going to get tested. Situations are going to test you. You're going to go through periods where you really don't know what tomorrow brings anymore. You really don't. So this is where now you know that you have to lean on something greater. For me, that's the Heavenly Father, because He provides the strength that I'm going to need. Because, Zimbabwe, it means houses of stone. But I've come to understand over time that actually it means the house of the Lord. Because those stones that make up this nation, those great, great walls, they echo what God is saying to the people here. And that's what you're here to listen to once more. You're back to get the message that you never got the first time. That's what you're coming back to receive. Your experiences here are going to give you that message that you missed, because your experiences are going to require you to be resilient spiritually. And it's that spiritual resilience that's going to prove to be your superpower, especially for those who are committed to enduring and reforming this country. You're not going to do it with your human capabilities and your daring and all of these things that we spoke about. You're going to need that third pillar, which is spiritual fortitude, which is that unbreakable spirit, because only that is going to enable you to reform this country, this school of hard knocks, so that it becomes easier for our people, so that the children grow in a truly nurturing environment. The men and women who are going to reform this country are going to need to be daring, confident in who they are, and they are going to have to believe in a greater power. And for some of us, that's our Heavenly Father. We're going to need to be those people. You're going to need to be that guy. You're going to need to be, that woman. That's what you're going to need to be, because we're not here to play games. It's some serious stuff over here in this country. You're not coming here to retire, to retire in peace, with your little flower garden, watching the sun. No, you're here to share the ideas and the things that you've learned in your time away from the motherland. You're here to share. You're here to teach. You're here to help your community, to help your brothers and sisters to see the light. Otherwise, there was no point in you going out there in the first place or even coming back. What are you doing here? So it's certain types of people who return to this country voluntarily with a vision. All right. I hope you enjoyed this, discussion, and I hope that you were inspired in some way, and that, if you've been thinking about returning home, that you have picked up some ideas that will be of assistance as far as bringing you to that decision that you've been meaning to make. And I want you to know that you're not alone in your return home. You have brothers such as myself who've been through what you are going through right now. And we took that step and we came back, and we can talk about it. And as long as we still have breath in our lungs, we will be there to talk to our brothers and sisters about how it is we can create a better society, so that none of our people will ever have to be immigrants or refugees in other people's countries. That should never, ever happen again in the future to our beautiful, marvelous people. Until next time, peace.
It was 6 a.m. at Harare Airport, and we were waiting for Marachela to appear. It was a relief to see him step onto the tarmac. He was late. We'd been waiting for 3 days, and I was anxious about how he was feeling. There had been a delay in issuing his travel document to the High Commission in London, and this had triggered an extreme reaction, relayed in 4 phone calls. He thought there was a plot of some kind against him. He'd torn up his airline ticket and refused to leave. Then the travel document was issued, and he decided to come.
There's customs over there. Come and say hi. Chris. I'm here. Oh my God. Son of the soil. You're noble. Hey, writer. This is really good. I'm just arrived, actually. Oh, God. Chris, how are you? I'm afraid we're a bit of a hustle in London. But I'm here anyway. And frankly, I think...
Wilson Katiu, also